Good morning. Sometimes I think I'm really amazing. I did an interview last night that didn't end until midnight. I was still awake at 1 a.m. and I don't set an alarm clock. And I was still awake over an hour before it was time to start today's video, and I've been up for almost an hour. I did stay in bed for 5 to 10 minutes once I woke up before I got up and went down to get a drink of water and go to the meditation room. Anyway, I take these commitments very seriously, as you can tell, and my body or mind or whatever just wakes me up to go through my normal routine even though I'm exhausted. Today's title is 2012, How to Recognize a Valid Contract. And of course it follows in line with what we shared yesterday about debt forgiveness being divine justice. The blurb for today is, if you go to the webpage youcanwin.hubpages.com, and the whole address is included in the blurb, you will find a list and description of 10 items that are essential for a valid contract in law. If any one of these is missing, the contract is void at inception. As I've been saying, commercial contracts in modern banking are all missing vital elements, since the bank officials at the highest levels know they are committing fraud. That's why they do not sign them, yet a signature of both parties is required by law. I'm going to take a moment and actually go through this list. I'm going to read the list, and I'm going to briefly, I'm not going to read the description of each one. You're going to have to do that for yourself. But the 10 items are: intent to create a legal relationship, lawful object, agreement not expressly declared void, proper offer and its acceptance, free consent, capacity of parties to contract, certainty of meaning, possibility of performance, lawful consideration, and legal formalities. One of the legal formalities, by the way, is that both parties must sign the contract. If there's a signature missing of one of the essential parties, and what are parties? Let me see here. Okay. To create a valid contract, there must be two or more parties, one who makes the offer and the other who accepts the offer. There's no such thing as an implied contract, and yet that is the type of contracts that are used readily in the commercial world. They are implied contracts, for example. And I know I'm deviating from explaining this list, but I'll get back to it. If you get a bill in the mail from somebody that claims you owe them money, it's an offer of a contract. If you pay the bill or pay on the bill, you are accepting the contract. That's an implied contract. We enter into many such implied contracts throughout our day-to-day existence on this planet, because that's how the commercial system has been set up. Governments are notorious for setting up implied contracts. They tell you you have to have a driver's license. You have to register your vehicle. You have to register your baby. You have to register your marriage, which gives the state the right to the proceeds of your marriage, i.e. your children, if you have any children. All of these are implied contracts. There's another word for it, but it escapes me at the moment. But these are not valid contracts. I wish that word would come to me. It's almost here, but it didn't get here yet. All of these are invalid contracts. There must be free consent. If there's fraud or misrepresentation or coercion or undue influence, it's not a contract. When a police officer stops you and wants you to sign the ticket, you're under duress. You're being forced. There's coercion involved. When you sign it under coercion, it is not a valid contract. And you have, under contract law, probably worldwide, you have 3 days, 72 hours, to cancel that contract. And so you can just simply write the next day to the court and say, this contract is invalid and unenforceable. I was under coercion. You could put UCC 1 or UCC-308, and there's another number there too, but I don't remember what it is right offhand. But that puts them on notice that you're going to cancel the contract, but then follow through with the cancellation. It's not a valid contract. There must be capacity to enter into the agreement. If there's not a capacity, then you can't do it. There must be the certainty of meaning. It can't be vague and uncertain. Like they don't tell you when you take out a loan, that they package the note associated with that loan, whether it's a mortgage or a car loan or something else. They don't tell you that you've actually prepaid the loan by an account that you don't even know about, that the government holds as your birth certificate bond. They don't tell you that you're a millionaire and that you have those assets at your command. The bank doesn't have them. Again, bear in mind, a bank is not lawfully allowed, not lawfully able to loan money which has been placed on trust with them. Their depositors come first. The bank doesn't have any of its own money. It's all and always and forever been a scam. There has to be the possibility of performance. In my particular situation, I entered into what I thought was a valid contract in 2005 when I took out a 6-month bridge loan on the trust property in order to purchase the property that I'm living in right now, so that I could clear out the other property, sell it, and perform my fiduciary responsibilities of distributing the assets according to Dr. Mary's wishes. Okay? I had 2 offers made way back in 2005. One for $870,000, one for $850,000. Both were withdrawn when it was revealed that there was a lawsuit pending. And I don't blame people for withdrawing their offers with a lawsuit pending. That's what happened. Now, legally, I could have still sold it, but the people did not want to get embroiled in controversy. That's very understandable. They prevented the lawsuit. The plaintiff in the lawsuit actually prevented me, as well as the other attorneys that got involved, prevented me from fulfilling what was my fiduciary responsibility as trustee, as successor trustee of the Mary Horgan Trust. And then they went into the probate court thing. They kept trying to get it into probate court. I kept denying permission. So they finally moved the judge from civil to probate to get around the whole crazy scenario, so they could get it into probate court so that they could have the authority to deprive me of my rights. All of these things prevented me from fulfilling my obligation as trustee. And of course, I'm also the executor. I'm also one of the beneficiaries. And one of the other beneficiaries was also a successor trustee. Should I have died before Dr. Mary, she would have been the successor trustee that was responsible, and she was also a beneficiary. Now, Dr. Mary and I did not know that we were not allowed to be a beneficiary and a trustee at the same time. We didn't know that that was not supposed to be done that way. But that's, again, that's not law, as it were, because we have the right to freely contract. That's a natural right. And we created a contract based on what we knew. not on some law that we didn't know anything about at the time. But anyway, there has to be lawful consideration. There's no, all the bank gives you, if they give you a check to make a purchase, the check is but a receipt of what you have given them. Again, the title that you sign, the mortgage note, not title, the note that you sign is a negotiable instrument. That is the money that's involved. That is the lawful consideration. You are giving it to the lending institution. It's totally backwards. Can you see that our whole world is inside out and upside down? Nothing is as it appears to be. This is something that I'd love to get through people's thick skulls, but we've been so indoctrinated to believe the lie is true that we don't even want to listen to people when they start saying things like this. When I first heard it myself, when I first came across this idea that banks don't really loan you money, I thought it was the most insane thing I ever heard. It seemed absolutely crazy to me. What do you mean they don't lend me money? Of course. Of course they do. That's how I'm able to purchase all these things. No. In the natural world, everything is free. We have created an artificial world, which is why you will notice in all lawsuits or all bills that you receive, your name is in all capital letters. Why? Because the legal fictions, governments, banks, corporations, can only operate with other legal fictions. It's a fictional world that has been created. That's why you might say that's the illusion. It's not an illusion that we have physical bodies and that we live in a physical world. That's not an illusion. That's our reality. That's our actual experience. The experience of our soul having a human experience, of our spirit coming down or coming from wherever, from the invisible world into the visible world, having a human experience, having a physical experience. That's not an illusion. The illusion is created by the systems that we have created to teach us, our religions, or fictional creations that supposedly point to the reality, and they do. All of them do point to the reality, but they put so much crap around it that we get lost in the illusion of fictional reality. And everything in our modern world is based on corporations. Everything from the individual to the largest multinational corporation in the world, which I don't know whether that's ExxonMobil or what it might be, but the largest corporation in the world is simply a legal fiction. And it's a fiction that the parties that create and work and operate within the corporation escape personal responsibility, which under natural law, no one escapes personal responsibility. Everybody pays their dues. Everybody is subject to karma and the law of cause and effect. Everybody. Nobody gets to escape that under natural law. Nobody can. And yet there's been a whole system in our world created based on false contracts, illusions of contracts that enslave and bind us to something that is not real. And they bind us to an identity of our own self that is not real. That's the all capital letters. Okay? That is a corporation that signifies something that is dead, that doesn't have natural existence, and is a delusion. Not just an illusion, it's a delusion. And we are deluded to think that the matrix is real. It's not. It's all artificially created. It is all legal fiction by law, and any ordinance or any apparent law that is passed by governing bodies or by corporations has no validity. It's an invalid contract on its face. It's null and void because it violates natural law. I trust you're beginning to get some foundational truths that will help you understand and live in this world. Whenever you are sent an offer, understand that you are being presented with a contract. Refuse the offer. Deny that the legal fiction is actually you. Deny it right up front. Now, some people say that these remedies don't work. Well, the only reason they don't work is because not enough people stand up for their rights, number one. And number two, because a lot of people don't stand up for their rights, because it's still such a small minority, the courts and the corporations think they can get away with just ignoring the truth, ignoring the law. And we're learning more and more how to hold people that have taken oaths of office to serve humanity. Hold them to that oath of office. And every public servant, every politician, every person in a corporation, these are all public servants. Every police officer, every soldier, they are public servants. And they have a moral and ethical responsibility to serve the people. Why doesn't government work? Because people that manage government, if you will, do not take their service oath and their service responsibility seriously. Again, I've talked long enough. I want to get this thing up online for you all and get back to bed. Have a wonderful day. Namaste. God bless you. Thank you.